And I was never satisfied with a mundane kind of a lifestyle or a mundane kind of a business. I could be a shopkeeper and sell and still make money. I wanted to become rich. I wanted to become big. So when the mind is idle, either you do wrong things or you do the right things. So it's up to you. Networking is extremely important. It's very critical that you can connect with people because that multiplies your business possibility, entrepreneurial skill possibility and things like that.
What would you consider the biggest legacy that you will be behind?
Our brand Oxford is a legacy for Pune. The golf course will become a legacy forever. Everything we create is legacy. So I have an adrenal problem. Business has to thrill you also, na? If it was very easy to do, I didn't enjoy it. And it doesn't matter, failure is normal. Failure hona hi chahiye. If failure doesn't happen, I don't think you even develop into the next level.
Today we have with us Mr. Anirudha Seolekar, a business tycoon, a very renowned name in Pune, the chairman and the founder of the Oxford properties in Pune. His relationship building skills, his business acumen, a strategic mind, and of course, a person who I have seen since I was a young girl. He's inspired many entrepreneurs, inspired a lot of business owners, and has had such a beautiful story and journey behind him. We're all very excited at Midas to have him. For such beautiful podcasts and learning more about entrepreneurship, please subscribe to our channel and also follow us. I don't know what to really start with. Should I call you hi Uncle? How are you? It's so good to have you here. But from a very, very young entrepreneur that you had begun your journey long back, I've heard a lot of stories. I've heard a lot of anecdotes about how life was before you really started your journey. But I want to know one very important question: that where did that spark begin for you, and how was it like? Was it one day when you realized that this is what I want to do, or was it a process that you got there?
I'm still trying to figure that out though. Even I wouldn't know whether it was a spark or was it a moment or something like that. It's just that, my childhood has been different. I was a government servant's son. Father used to work in the education and then, of course, transferable. So when we settled down in Pune at the age of 3, went to school. And technically, if you ask me, at school, I've topped the school in terms of the grade in the 10th standard, but throughout I hardly studied. I was always inclined, interested. I wanted to become rich. I wanted to become big. And so it was just a dream. I went to a bishop school in Pune, it's a highly rated school, a lot of rich kids, all kinds of kids. And I spent some period of my life in a hostel for some reason. And I always felt when I looked at things that I did not have, or I could very aspirational. So I used to keep thinking. And so that was basically the mindset or my thinking process for whatever I may have done in life today, probably.
Was there a particular moment where you said, I want to start now?
Well, I wanted to start in school itself. And so education and studies never interested me. I can't read a book. If you give me a book, I've never read a book in my whole life. So the point is that I always felt that, I'm made for greater things in life. And as difficulties happened during the young age, maybe the mindset became like that. I always felt that, probably I'm the chosen one. I have to do something very different in life than the rigmarole that everybody is daily doing, like a job and things like that and all that. So, just the mindset. Nothing really I can pinpoint to tell you.
What was the first entrepreneurial stint you had?
Well, since I didn't have money those days in school, I used to even trade with school kids in the hostel, with trying to sell something to the other and all that. So I realized I have a skill of selling. I mean, I knew that skill that I could talk, I could sell. So, so that was maybe a very small thing, maybe a few rupees here and there. But that's how the mindset to get into something which I can use my skill to make money. Probably.
And for as long as I've known you, I've always believed in one fact that the thing that really differentiates you as a person is the relationships that you build over the years. And as you said, the selling part was probably the first strength that you noticed in you at that point of time. And I think people genuinely love having that sort of an affable relationship with you. How important has that been in your journey for, up until now, that building those relationships?
If you ask me truly, uh, I mean, I'll come to the business part. Let's say during this journey of 64 years that I am now, networking, relationship building, creating friendships, let's say associations, you don't really have too many friends. Being able to speak to people of different ages, being able to come to their age and speak to them, I think that's one of the biggest trait I think is a God gift. And the whole world and business in the future, even for any of your students and any of the people wanting to become businessmen or in their profession, networking is extremely important. It's very critical that you can connect with people, because that multiplies your business possibility, entrepreneurial skill possibility, and things like that.
And if there were, a lot of challenges that you faced, and I'm sure that you've gone past through them with your own strength, but can you probably tell us how were you dealing with some challenges that you faced on the way to becoming this charismatic entrepreneur that you are?
Okay, so I'll tell you what. Um, After the 10th standard, where you're about 15 years old, so we had a gap of 6 months because I came from an ICSE background school where this was the last year for that, and I had to join somewhere else in a different school. There was a 6 months gap. And during that 6 months gap, it was like idle time. So when the mind is idle, either you do wrong things or you do the right things. So it's up to you. And at that time, I kept thinking that what do I want to become? I mean, that's from very early age, a challenge. I want to do really big business. I didn't know what business. I didn't know what I will really do, because I didn't know my skill set was only that I could probably relate to people, connect with people. That's all. So when I was in the 11th standard, I kind of some research or some connection somewhere, they said, your transport ka business bahut acha hai. Like get into a business of transport and things like that. So even at underage, we managed to get a loan from a bank. We managed to get a tempo, bought one from the bank, took a loan. And that time there was in India the uneducated employed scheme. So the funding was very easy if you could put very little money. So I had a friend who is also my partner today. So together we decided, let's do this business. So that was actually this journey and the first starting point, if you ask me, of any entrepreneurial attempt. So, and then the journey was long. There were multiple things that happened. I don't know how many to tell you.
But how did you deal with your challenges when you knew that okay, some things are not going my way? How did you deal with those?
Well, like for example, when you do business, ups and downs are normal. Okay, failures are very important. I think extremely important. I did maybe a dozen businesses in my lifetime, right from driving a tempo to selling anything, medicine, well, you name it, and I've done it. So during every journey, so some parts of my journey have been as a business or entrepreneurial kind of attempt. Some parts of my journey during the time of my age, let's say 16 to 23, 24, have been where I was employed. So I have taken a job. My mother had a company with a partner, and it was separate, nothing to do with me. And I took over the job as a salesman. At that time, salaries were nothing compared to what we pay today. And I started selling poultry chicks. So, and I traveled all over Maharashtra, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh. At a very young age, at the age of 17, 18, 19. And if you ask me then how did I do my college? Well, I never went to the school much, or college much. Attendance at those days was not biometric, so people used to manage that I attended. I did not do formal graduation, but I completed graduation as an external student. Formal meaning not through a college process, through a direct university process. And the only reason is because my mother said, if you don't educate it, you'll be nobody. So, and my 10th standard marks are, even today, it's there on the board. So I was I think I was intelligent that time. Or I don't know. So this is how my education part was. And in between that 5 to 7 years of my period, let's say 17 to 23, I worked, I did this business, I did some trading business, I tried some medical equipment business, I tried some import and export business. So there were multiple things that I tried during those courses. Some made money, but it continuously kept me unsatisfied because I always felt that, when will I become rich if I make only a few thousands every time? So that kept wanting me to do something different. And employment was a good experience because by employment, what happens is that you get a real sense of how people deal with you, trade with you, how you manage things. And that exposure helped me a lot because then I traveled so much. I met people, different religions, different nature, different businesses. And somewhere down the line, then probably I grasped the good part of whatever I met with people. So it depends on how much you can connect, collect, and make use for yourself.
So, were there any principles or habits that you've always followed all through the journey?
Yes, 100%. Primarily, I'm very disciplined, very punctual. I mean, I've been like that since my childhood. If somebody gives me a time, I'm there, irrespective how I do it or how it happens, unless rarely if something goes wrong. So I think that has been one of my very focused outlook. And the second thing is I've always thought by the heart. So, I mean, in the brain, you can multiply a business, but it is an intuition and a feeling that can give you the conclusion to that. And then, of course, the brain has to do its job. So maybe that was something that I kind of always felt was extremely important.
And if, along the journey, you had a lot of partners.
Yes.
As I've seen you having multiple of them. How important are having partners in your life?
That's a good question. So, since I started my career without a capital, and money was always a problem because if you had to do business, without money, you really can't do business. You need that initial seed capital, you need something kind of thing. So, how do you do it? Banks wouldn't fund you, you're nobody. So, who would give you the money? So, we created relationships with friends, associates of friends, and came up with propositions. Tried to sell the propositions. I knew I could sell them. So you could sell a small proposition of a business of some kind, whatever the kind, and got them to invest. Now, most of them bought partnerships. Some of them remained investors, but the investor is as good as a partner because you give them either a return which is assured and a profit on that. So my journey started this way, and if I did not have partners, I wouldn't be where I was. And there should not be regret because sometimes a business does extremely well and then you say, shit, man, the partner's making like shitload of money, and talent is mine. So that mindset is a very dangerous mindset. So you have to always control that mindset. And if I had to give a partnership to somebody and I got only 10 or 20% out of it, but I grew the business, I grew my brand, I grew my goodwill. So you have to look at the positive side of having partners. Secondly, with partners to deal is also a tough job. But I think by nature, I feel I can convince a partner. It's just a feeling. Because I'm doing the right thing. I'm honest. And I'm sensitive to a partner's mindset. So if I can look after that, I can make sure he's comfortable. I mean, I've had multiple partners, multiple. You can name the number of partners I have. I can't even count them now. So they have been my biggest support system. And in partnership, you have to let go. Partnership, you can't be aggressively the way you want to be. So you have to learn that as you do it. Some partnerships did not go too well, but there were very few. So you cut them there and be done with it. Because you have to create the mindset that you have into the partner's mindset in a broad-minded fashion, giving you time. to allow him to make money. But then once you make money for him, who cares? He is happy. And a partner investor is happy as long as you're making money for him, it's okay.
Absolutely.
So I think that is a relationship of a partnership.
Has there been any key traits that you've, like chosen your partner? You've been working with
No.
most of them.
I mean, people who have money, you have to accept their traits. What choice? Huh?
So it's not been anything.
He can be a negative thinker, positive thinker, small thinker, big thinker, who cares? As long as you got the money from him, then you can develop him. But one thing for sure in partnership is transparency is extremely important. So if you can keep the relationship of transparency, I think partnerships are fine. Not everybody can deal with partnerships. It's not easy. It's stressful. It stresses you, it drains you. But then you want to do something big, you need people to join you.
I would like to ask you that, I mean, you are a regular investor. So is there like a framework of things that you follow when you pick an investment? Like, how do you evaluate an investment?
So let me tell you this story in a different way. So the initial parts were trial and error.
Right.
So forget all that. Did this business, that business. I was out of the city for 10 years. I worked in Delhi, I worked here and there, Bombay, whatever. And, but I was not doing well in the sense I was not making money. I was surviving. That's a different story. Survival is not a very tough job. But if you want to be rich, I love fancy cars. I love good things in life. I love great watches. I just love it. And if you'd like that, and if that is what you want to achieve, then you've got to really work hard. You have to find means to get to that. So when I came back to Pune, from an investment perspective, I took partners and started the business of real estate. So this is at the age of approximately 29, 30. That's when I started my journey in a real estate format. And now I'm in that for the last 30, 35 years. And then I chose that was the business I will continue to do because I saw the thrill in it. This thrill. See, business has to thrill you also, na? It's not about just doing business, making money, 20% mil gaya. That's one way of doing it. But then there has to be excitement. And I was never satisfied with a mundane kind of a lifestyle or a mundane kind of a business. I could be a shopkeeper and sell and still make money. So land interested me. So investment in lands with or without partners, individually or not with person. So I started understanding the business of real estate, the land. And those were very early times. This is, I'm talking as 19, what? 89, 90. Okay. So I also realized one more thing in this business. I'm probably intuitional. So it's not an Excel sheet. I still don't know how to make one. But it's not about an Excel sheet of a profit and loss. It's about a feeling. So I have done all my business on emotion and feeling. So if I felt that this parcel is good, I used to think ahead of times. I don't know why. It's just that today when I look back, I realized that why did I go into the jungle and try to do a project? But then I realized today it's become premium property. So maybe I was right at that time. But that was purely intuitional. So that's the way I kept investing.
Sure, amazing. So, could you just expand a little more on intuition because you actually, unfolded a completely new form of, yeah. I mean, I'd be very, very deeply interested in how do you. I'm sure you must have thought about your.
Say for example, Rahul, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I come across you and we're talking of a business proposal, or let's say something to do with you. I have to get that vibe.
Right.
I don't know how to explain it in a theoretic manner, but I have to get the vibe that you are okay for me to do business with. Similarly, any project comes to me, it was purely vibe based. So I really don't know how to explain this, but this has to develop over time. So maybe all my career during work, this, that, I developed this skill set. Or let's say it's not a skill set actually, it's, what shall we call it? A feeling. And purely on that basis, I've bought whatever I acquired. We have very decent land banks in this city. I also liked challenges when I did an investment. If it was very easy to do, I didn't enjoy it. It was difficult to do, the thrill was there. So I have an adrenal problem. I realize I have it. So I need to get that thrill out of the business that I do, or the acquisition that I do, or the investment that I do. It's just that. I don't know how to explain this.
So the vibe that you're talking about, is it the vibe of the people or is it
The business, the proposal,
proposition?
anything.
Yeah.
And luckily, I've not met wrong people. I felt and I did, and don't think anybody has cheated me or ditched me or anything like that has happened in my entire career. I must have now crossed nearly about 50 to 80 partners. I don't even know how many. And some partnerships did not continue because they were project based, so they are finished. Some continue. Well, that's a small sphere of people, but they trust you. Because in every partnership, one decision I had already, one rather method that I've always followed is that I will take the call. If you allow me to, because that's the call. Because if two people start taking calls, then that business cannot happen. And I was lucky because all my partners believed that ठीक है लेने दो इसको call, doesn't matter. Maybe it's right, wrong, we don't know, but time will tell. So I am lucky that I got good partners. It's not easy to get good partners.
And even developing that kind of intuit and, you know, having that feeling that something's right for you also may have developed over the years for you. But I think you've always been a person who has given all heart more than anything else. So it shows in all your projects that there's a piece of you that's always, there. Very interesting concept that he's brought up.
Even when the real estate started, just to, maybe you'll ask me this question. So first, it takes 3 years to build any small building, So first project was 20,000 square feet, 20,000 build, story over. Another 3 years, by the time 6 years of my life are over. So I'm saying, when do I get rich? So again, the question arises that how do I get into something bigger? So then I said, why should I just do these? Let's get into a big land. Complicated, doesn't matter. Litigated, doesn't matter. So the investments were the small investments again, because the large parcel was bigger. The investment was reasonably smaller because of all the issues that a particular land would have, for example, let me ask you. And then you get into it, and then you develop the skill set, because in real estate, remember one thing, when you buy land or you're doing real estate, everything that's disputed, everything that is messed up can only be solved by dialogue, not in the court of law, not by any other method. So if you feel that you got into something and there is a complication and you talk people over time, wherein you make sure everybody's satisfied, it becomes a business. So I think that's what I did. So after 20,000 and 21,000 square feet, I went directly for 27 acres. You see the multiple?
Sure.
40 times.
So, I'd like to ask you, what would be that one advice you'd like to give today to, the young entrepreneurs who are budding? Is there a singular advice that you have in your mind?
I think they have to follow their heart for sure.
Right.
Okay, that's number one. Passion. Because let's say you're educated in something, but you still are fond of doing something particularly. Or maybe something excites you. Because any business you don't enjoy doing it, you're never going to make money. Never. You have to enjoy doing what you want to do. Say, for example, tomorrow I want to do, real estate is one subject, but let's say into your chemical, manufacturing, watchmaking, whatever. And if that is of your interest, and you feel very excited to do something of that nature, then you find that business. And then you develop that business. And it doesn't matter, failure is normal. Failure hona hi chahiye. If failure doesn't happen, I don't think you even develop into the next level. Now that depends. By failure, what do you mean? Is it a cash loss? Is it a depression story? That's something you have to live with. I don't know.
So, one of the most amazing things about you is that you've always been very heavily involved in sports. How has that influenced you being a leader, a part of a huge team, and how is that coherent to you?
Okay, so school days, everybody played cricket. I also played cricket. as you aged, and when I got into business for many years, I never played any sport. It was not possible. I used to work like 18 hours a day. So it was not practical, possible. I wanted to grow. But then later on, I developed a love, maybe at the age of 40 plus, 45 plus, of golf. So I developed the love for the game. I went to train. I mean, there were reasons I went, whatever. And one thing I understood about the game, that's why I only play that game today. I do play other games, but that's just for kick's sake or for exercise sake. But this is one game which is the toughest game in the whole world. There is no game as tough as golf. It looks very simple. Small little ball to put it in the hole. It looks very simple. But this is an amazing game. I am advocating promotion of this game a lot. I have been in all the golf committees of the country. I have been the captain of the Pune club. That's where the game expanded in my mind for a long time. Then I became the president there. Then I expanded it further. Then I realized that I'm a real estate guy, man. Why don't I develop? Because in real estate, remember one thing, only two things sell. Nothing else, but it has to look, the color has to be either green color or it has to be a blue color. You understand what I mean?
Right.
Tell me what's blue?
Water.
And what's green?
The lords.
Correct. So these are the two things any developer emphasizes on, because that's something which sells. Because a man has to look at it and it sells. And you get a premium. So golf courses all over the world, if you see good projects, real estates are evolving around them. But not so much at that time. So they were just golf courses and they were projects. So then I said, let's use passion, love for the game, and also make a lot of money by developing real estate around it. That's how Oxford happened. Then being on various committees, and then when you become a golf course owner, then you have access. Because in India, there are very limited private golf courses. Very limited. In fact, I'm pushing a lot of developers all over the country to put up golf courses, small, big, whatever. So that, the community grows in the game of golf as well. And golf, although is not such a popular game in this country, needs a little time, and golf courses are not very close to your homes. So you have to travel, things like that. So when I became this, I was involved in amateur sport, in the amateur committee called the Indian Golf Union. I became then subsequently a president after my stint in the committee. And then we were promoting a lot of junior golf. So, getting champions. See, you need one champion to create a story. Otherwise, nahi hota hai. Like Tiger Wood happened, the golf happened. Like, the whole story. So we were doing a lot of work in that. Subsequently, I formed an association 15 years ago called the Indian Golf Industry Association. How do we grow the game? So now we are doing the job of growing the game from the industry perspective. And my love for one game only is golf. And whoever I meet, I make sure that, one day in their life, they should get into this game. Because that game can put you on the ground like this. You may be a super billionaire or a nobody. But this grounds you. This teaches you respect. And I advocate every youngster in schools to learn this game. Because that will train their mind to be better business people. Or professionals, whatever they want to be.
I also know that you're a very busy man, and how do you balance that mental well-being and keeping yourself physically fit, all of that?
Really, you want to know that story? Yes. Okay. So, I'm not extremely busy, but yes, the mind works and the mind cannot stop working. That's something every businessman's story of life. But I also, over a period of time, have decided, other than loving my business, to love myself a lot. So I gave a lot of priority. And I look at the mirror in my house and I say, I love you so much. I keep still talking to myself. I don't know why I do that. The reason I love myself is I want to be healthy. I don't mind you die tomorrow or you die after 100 years. To die healthy is more important. So that should be everybody's goal, aim in life. That if you don't have great health, the quality of you should look good. You should feel nice. If you look good, you dress up well, you look nice, you don't have, things which, like, for example, if you're very fat, it's fine. But you should be able to carry out that in that style. And you should feel healthy at the same time. So I devote a lot of time for myself. My morning, 3 to 4 hours, I devote purely to myself. right from my walk run to my yoga to my pranayam to my small lightweight gym training. So I do all of that. I play golf 3 times a week because that gives me the serenity of life, because you are thinking of nothing else but trying to beat yourself. This is a game which challenges you. This is the only game in the world which you play against yourself. Only game in the world. Tennis has an opponent, badminton, everything has an opponent. This has no opponent. You play against yourself. It develops you. That's why I'm always selling this game.
So now moving on to some of your welfare work that you do, so what inspired you to get into, social welfare that you carry out?
What is social welfare technically? Let's say, for example, I don't look at social welfare where you go and execute something in an NGO and try to help them and cultivate them and do something for them. I don't think that purely defines social welfare from my perspective. If you ask me, we have in our companies, which is the hotels, the real estate, and a little bit here and there, whatever businesses, close to 600 to 700 employees today. Let's say 600, okay? Now, when they work with you, you have to keep innovating, thinking, to keep growing the business so that you're able to pay salaries. Then there are suppliers. Then there are landowners. Now, whenever I go and buy land in a particular area, for example, it's just my feeling, I just don't go off the cuff, buy it and goodbye to you. The farmer becomes a family, as the employee is a family. Now to develop him, to guide his children, to not get spoiled with all the money they get, to get into businesses which can relate with us as a developer, are activities which I'm busy with. So if you ask me really, I feel this is some kind of, it's a responsibility, and I think it is very important for every businessman to make sure that the people he works with who are under his umbrella are also well satisfied, happy, contented, the families are doing well, concern for them is there, and they keep growing as well in their position. Maybe an employee also, doesn't matter. So I think that would be explain if you ask me what welfare would be. Socially, yes, I have undertaken, some children from government schools where I'm trying to, just coach them to think differently. So they're very specific, small, not very big, but I don't believe I donate and you do it. It's something it's just not me.
Sure. So can you talk about a project that's very close?
Yeah, well, right now, yes. What I've decided to do? In fact, a couple of the rural schools, can you believe? I'm taking golf to rural India, which is the toughest job.
Sure.
You will get psyched because this cannot happen. Where will that poor guy with no shoes? What is he going to go and play and where is he going to play? But golf has a big potential for people to get employment.
Right.
Okay? How do they get employment? They can get jobs of varied kind. It's a big industry. It's just underrated in this country. So I'm putting up small, and then I want to pick up talent and then coach them because we have a facility. So create the coaching facility for them. And in these hardy areas, I've traveled a lot in Maharashtra. And in schools, I've asked, taken balls, this, that, nets, and told them to hit the ball. Some of them really are natural. Kids, hardy, kids, smart. So now that activity is ongoing right now. So golf to rural India is something people saying this guy has gone mad or he's gone bonkers. It's not going to happen. Doesn't matter. Over a period of time, we will see what happens. And slowly get them cultivated, then pick up some people, then start sponsoring few good students to enhance the game. There's a lot of money to make in this game, a lot of money. Only thing is people haven't seen it. People only know cricket. Cricket is our religion. This is not yet. So you look at it, the British started cricket, right?
Correct, 1980.
And the British started golf. And they got the second oldest golf course is in India, in the RCBC in Calcutta. But the game didn't grow.
Actually taking golf to rural India.
That's my only passion now.
Commendable.
So, what would you consider the biggest legacy that you would leave behind?
Everything we create is legacy. So our brand Oxford is a legacy for Pune.
Yes.
The golf course will become a legacy forever.
Correct.
I mean, where can you find? I mean, I know I built it 20 years before time. Pune is not even ready for it today. Let me tell you this. In terms of commercials, Pune is not ready for it. But then we built an international golf course. My partners all cried because they had to cry because they said, "ये हरा को इतना खर्चा क्यों करता है?" You know, this grass. But I keep it at pristine level.
Yes.
The reason is it is a championship golf course. It's a highly rated golf course. Why? It's an ornament for Pune. In the whole country, Oxford is known as the finest golf course in the country. I always vie for the first position. Sometimes become second for some reason, but first. But that's how I am. I can't help it.
Is there some dream goal that you still want to achieve?
Nothing really. I'm kind of, you can see I'm semi-retired. So, yes, my dream goal on personal level is to reduce my hours of work to the minimum, which I've started now. Involve myself more for self-building, healing, self-improvisation. Be it health, be it a mind, be it the looks, whatever it may be. And so I want to spend more time doing this. I also want to now adventure and see if I had to start from scratch, what would I do new? Okay. So like an entrepreneurial journey, a new one, can I invent one? Can I innovate one? Can I think of something I love? And can I create something out of that and make it a story again? Wow. So this is something right now I'm working on if you ask me my mindset.
So you want to probably recreate one of...
Recreate something new.
Beautiful. That's amazing. And I also wanted to ask you a personal question. So Rohan and Kunal are going to take your legacy forward. What's the sort of succession plan that you have, or how has that journey been for you?
That's a tough one. Yes, people build businesses for generations, I don't know. But who knows how the generation is going to look after it. So in my lifetime, if I've created these small 2-3 legacies and given them a platform, now it's up to them, their talent, their goodwill that they create, their mindset that they'll create, that they can grow it or break it. It's entirely their choice. So we've created a business model. We've created some creative stories of creative projects. Both my children, if you ask me, one is an architect, one is a business boy. And they will be initiated into this. They are already initiated rather. Now it's up to them. I don't know how they look after it, but this is the legacy created. Now what they do with it is something I don't want to think for my next third generation. No point thinking. I believe in destiny.
Are you a person who lives in your present or thinks too much about the future?
No. Absolutely present. 100% present. Yes, I'm a dreamer, I agree. But dream is for that moment till I want to fructify it. Otherwise, I purely live in the today. Always in the today. And for the day.
Absolutely. And I also wanted to ask you this one more question, that where did you get your wit from, your dad or your mom?
Well, my dad died when I was very young. So I really don't know. But probably it would have been him. If it was so, I don't know.
Yeah, because, you're always the heart and soul of any party that you'll walk in.
I believe in laughter, yeah. A man should keep laughing.
Absolutely. So
I have one question, sir. How important is routine to you? And
extremely important.
And when did routine happen in your busy life?
No, I've always maintained a routine.
Forever.
Always. I don't miss my routine. I have my times to do things, and that's what I do. I don't indulge in too much social media, although I have to be available there just to know what my companies are doing on social media. But that's a different story. But otherwise, I don't get into these habits and all that. Well, I can party a lot as well, but at the same time, morning, I'm up. at my fixed time, whatever it happens, whatever irrespective.
Yeah, that's a fun element that my father's always told me about, that no matter how,
I can go sleepless for 2 days also.
yeah,
but
I
can
mean,
still
how
attend.
long you party, you'll be up in the morning, running around, doing your thing. So where do you get this energy from?
God's gift. I'm the chosen one. So I've always considered myself, you know, I've always considered myself the chosen one. And I'm 100% the chosen one. Because God or the superpower or whoever we imagine is there has kicked me so badly so many times. So every time they kicked, probably I thought, what the shit? And I talked to the gods in my own way. I'm spiritual, very, very spiritual. And I do my prayers every morning. I do that. But then I talk to the God because I want him to be a friend, like for our discussion on it. And so what happens with that is that, I just feel that, probably he loves me also. Who knows?
You're blessed. And what
I don't know.
really makes you happy? What makes you very happy?
Oh my God. What makes me happy? I'm generally happy. I don't know. You want a situation?
Yes, like when I've always seen you at peace is when you're with your grandchildren. Like there's a very nice vibe about you when you're around them.
Yes, now that I have grandchildren, definitely. And I know that, I can enjoy them only to an X age. Once about 6, 7, 8 years old, they're so busy in their routine that they don't even have time to look at you. So I've enjoyed that time. And luckily that was during COVID times. So during COVID times, I could do all that. The second passion I have is gardening, which I developed over time. Yes. Actually, my wife had this passion, but I developed it over the COVID period. I love to cook. So I developed a little bit of skill in cooking in COVID times. And now I love it. So I grow my own vegetables. I don't eat outside. I'm very disciplined. You can call me for 100 parties. I'll never eat in a dinner. I mean, I try not to, unless I'm very hungry.
So we're going to get to one of the fun parts of today. We've made you,
You're scaring me.
Yes. So we're going to do
I'm scared, guys.
we're going to do a rapid fire. And this has to be really rapid. One investment that you're the proudest of.
The Oxford Golf Resort.
One favorite real estate project till date that has excited you the most.
Oxford Village at Wanodi.
At Wanodi, okay. The next big thing in entrepreneurship that you see.
To develop a new business, which I can love.
Beautiful. And one of the things that your partner has asked me to ask you. So the two googly questions. Grandson or granddaughter?
Granddaughter.
Ashok Kothari or Paraksha?
Oh, fuck. It's difficult to choose between a Gujarati and a Marwadi because you need them, Now, coincidentally, they became Marathi. I can't help that. So for now, let's choose Paraksha.
Perfect. So you saved your ass today. Favorite sports personality you'd love to have dinner with?
Oh, Nadal. Anytime. Tennis.
Morning workouts or evening yoga?
Morning.
Morning yoga.
Always morning.
Your favorite travel destination?
Oh, London. I love London. For the only reason is I like the vibe. I like the city's vibe. It's like multicultural, great restaurants, and great climate.
Beautiful. And exotic locations still on your bucket list?
The Himalayas.
Best dish you've ever tasted and where?
Japanese at the O Hotel.
So you're more a tea person or a coffee person?
Tea.
Suit or casual?
Only casual.
Books or podcasts?
Never read a book. Podcast.
One book that changed your perspective, doesn't matter to you. A movie or series you'd recommend for a business leader?
Only one. 3 parts of Godfather. Killer.
Who's the most inspiring person you've ever met?
Amitabh Bachchan. I got an opportunity because he came to the university to play golf with him 3 times. And the education, can I expand this?
Yes,
the
of course.
education that you get from this guy, why he is where he is and what he is only if you can experience him in person. He's unbelievable. He is a director's favorite for various reasons which I noticed when he was playing golf. Because at that game, he knew that I knew more than he knew. And he listened. Great listener.
Beautiful. If you weren't an entrepreneur, what do you think you would be?
India's most famous surgeon.
Really?
Top class.
And Anil, I want you to expand
My hand doesn't
on
shiver
this.
at all, so I can operate.
So, favorite childhood memory?
Actually, having an evening snack on a holiday with my father, that's the only memories I have.
A talent most people don't know you have.
Oh God, talent. What talent do I have? I don't know. Punctuality. I'm spiritual.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I'm heavily spiritual. If you know, I played golf with Sadhguru so many times. I adore him. He's another personality if you ask me. Okay, you asked for one, so I give you one. And I've learned a lot from him.
Mountains or beaches?
Beach anytime.
Sunrise or sunset?
Only sunrise.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
A tech gadget you can't live without?
In fact, let me tell you the story. I hate tech gadgets, although I wear them. But I'm getting off tech gadgets in the next 12 months.
Any reason why?
I don't want the electronics. I don't want all that.
Okay.
I think I can do without it. It's just becoming a bad habit, like alcohol.
One skill every leader should learn.
To follow his heart.
Lovely. What does success mean to you in one word?
Oh God. If you can make a difference to whoever you come across, that is success.
Beautiful. If you could time travel, would you go to the past or the future?
Oh, future.
If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
If I can heal everybody.
Beautiful. One law you enact if you could.
No law I can enact. No answer to that.
Describe yourself in 3 words.
Oh my God, now I've already told you so much about myself. Well, I'm disciplined. I think I'm pretty sincere in my approach. And I believe in what I do.
Yes. One piece of advice you'd give your younger self.
Definitely. That spend time more studying and playing with school children. And don't divert the way I did.
If you could sum up your life philosophy in a sentence, what would it be?
Philosophy of life. I think it'll be nice to be well remembered for doing some good creations, being different than others. So a person with a difference.
Yes.
I don't know.
This was a real pleasure. And Uncle, I've had so much fun listening to you. But my students have a few questions for you.
Like you said, you've done a lot of businesses in your whole lifetime and you settled onto the real estate one. And somewhere I also have a passion to be a big man, be very rich. Is there any business you would suggest that is going to boom in the next, in the future? Something like, I'm into a trading business of engineering plastics, but I really don't know that is it going to be a 1,000 crore business ever? So is there any business, like real estate comes with, of course, heavy investments. But yeah, I can take, of course, I can always take loans. But any business you would suggest that is going to be the business of the century, like something we should be maybe focusing on?
Well, that's a tough one for me because, um, it's something that you have to even love to do, no? You should also enjoy doing it. And you'll have to find your own way because in your age and your time, you have so much technology to tell you so much things about things. So really speaking, there's no business that you can really identify. I mean, any business, if you can innovate it, think differently, think out of the box, and look at it and position it in a way that you feel can change the structure of that business, could be successful. So, I mean, I would just leave it at that.
Any idol you had in your lifetime which has always inspired you?
Lately, Elon Musk. Lately, of course. I mean, that guy can think beyond time. Quite amazing.
He is crazy.
You have to be crazy to make money. You have to be crazy to be noticed. You have to be crazy. Otherwise, I mean, you're just another in the billion population.
Sir, in the times of, like, you are a very jolly person and you are very motivated, like, whatever I have noticed so far. So, in the times of hardships, like, how do you keep yourself motivated? How do you keep yourself up?
Actually, it is a tough one. It's a tough time. It's a tough call to take when you are stressed out, and when you are like in the dumps. You tend to go wrong. I mean, so a little bit of resilience. You have to develop yourself. You have to accept a situation and not cry about it. The moment you start going in the past, you're finished. So what the past did to you, you cannot change, which is a standard dialogue. I mean, nothing new I'm telling you. But if you cannot change the past, don't think about the past. Don't think about the failure. Think about how you can convert that into a positive element, or then cut it off and go somewhere else and do something else. That's all you can do. It's a mindset. It's just that you have to be firm and strong in your mind. It's a mind game. Business is also a mind game. Any non-Gujarati Marwadi wants to ask?
I have a lot of questions. So, but like, how has spirituality helped you?
Well, very good question. Excellent questions. You all never asked that question. So, there are two schools of thought. Either you can be spiritual or absolutely Nastic, non-spiritual. I met a lot of people who are absolutely non-spiritual. Very, very important people. They don't believe in God. So, and they have also done well. So it's not that you haven't done well. How it has helped me is because I believe in the superpower. I believe there is somebody who is governing you. That's why I call myself the chosen one. I myself self-proclaimed. Nobody has to tell me I'm the chosen one. I'm only telling you I am. And I pray, I go to temples. But what I like about it is I enjoy that experience. So it's a personal story. So my spirituality is all a personal spiritual journey. I have been part of the Osho commune for a while. I can listen, I can't read, so, and all that. Then with Sadhguru, I had the opportunity where I feel blessed. I mean, who can get an opportunity to spend 4.5 hours playing golf with Sadhguru? I mean, come on, it's not normal. People are dying to meet him. And I get that opportunity just because he loves the game. He loves multiple sports. He loves this game too much. And so I'm pretty much active, and I think I have a strong feeling now that he enjoys my company a little bit. So that's why he continues to play with me here and there, wherever. With him, those 4 hours are pure education. They are pretty spiritual as well. But they are very realistic as well. So when he merges the spiritual story of life, historic, mythological, whatever, with a real life time, you really realize that, all this makes sense. I don't pray. Pray means give me something. I pray to enjoy that. If you keep asking God for something, you're going to get nothing. So you have to kind of have a dialogue with him, make friends with him. And I learned that over time, So I'm spiritual. I follow days of the year where, in the Hindu custom that we have, and I enjoy it. So you have to enjoy spirituality. It's not about just being spiritual, Bhagwan ko manta hu. That's okay. You have to enjoy it also. I enjoy it.
Thank you so much. Yeah. One more thing is like a lot of things we're learning in Midas is about how we should handle certain things in our business. One of the major problems we face in our business is employees, like handling them. So can you just share a few tips which has always helped you in the business? Like few tips, like could be for retaining employees, like you said, how you're keeping them as family. But basic things in business which will help us thrive or make us different than the other people.
See, today the times are different. My times of business, the employees were of a different mindset. They wanted stability, they wanted security, and they also wanted to be treated well. Today's time, it's now monetary. So time has changed. The comfort zone has gone completely out now. It's no longer comfort zone. They're ready to take the risk. They want more money. They want to become rich. They want to have party a lot. They want to buy expensive things. So today, if you ask me, I have a lot of friends in industry. Each one has a problem to retain staff. I mean, a huge amount of staff just kind of leaves. They don't care. So now there is no emotional connect between employees and an employer or a company. It's not left anymore. It's over. We, being from the old school, do still have a certain number of people who still believe in our philosophy. So maybe for me, it is a little different. Plus, my business model is such that the people who work for me work in a specific area which is not in high demand. So, you don't like multiply and skip jobs into like an IT company or whatever you all do, technology and things like that. And I'm a little poor on technology. I would love to learn it maybe in my next lifetime. Yeah. So, to retain employees, I think it's just an individual story with an individual company and how they do it. Maybe it's money. I don't think any emotion is any more connected. Maybe making sure that, rewards are well done. You retain. You find talent. Now that is an owner's thing to, and if talent is really worth it, you kind of give him the world. If there's no talent, let him go. I don't think I have a very clear answer for this, but this is it.
Yeah.
Oh my, too many questions, yeah?
So golf is one of the expensive sport in the world. So how do you plan to change the thinking in the rural area? Because golf is a sport which is of a class according to the people in India. So how do you plan to change their mindset?
What I meant by rural golf to rural India is that this will be a great model. In the next few years, you'll read about it also. Already articles, I have given some articles. Idea is to, see, now what happens in rural India, people go to government schools. Okay, there's a limitation. You study the books which are there. You play some little bit of sports, but then how do you enhance? How do you go to the state level in this? But in rural India, what I realized is that if you become a sportsman in a school, you get better jobs. So you get chosen amongst 1 upon 20 instead of 1 upon 200. So that's the plus point. When I realized this scenario, I spoke to the education people, now the ministry has changed, whoever comes. And now I'm doing a massive program. It's not about playing golf, understand. I'm trying to introduce them to the industry of golf, which could be multiple things, okay? It could be, becoming coaches. It could be becoming and training center. It could be working in the golf course. It could be working in the maintenance and the greens of the golf course. We have to understand the game to understand how to look after the golf course. So I was looking at it from an industry perspective. That's one part. The second part was that, yes, we need golfers from there. All the golfers who are coming up from rich kids who are sending their kids and allowing them, getting them the best equipment. It's not about equipment, it's about talent. So my idea is to find talent. So if there are great talent, I found some, by the way, so some talent, I'm going to nurture them to play the game and then go to the national level and play the circuit. The moment they start playing the circuit and they start understanding, that they can, it's a huge career. In cricket, there's so much competition. In golf, it is individual talent. Cricket is difficult because, now it's multiple cricket, so hota hai. So there are less people vying to play golf. So I want to develop more people to play golf. So their opportunities over time will enhance. This is my reason. That's why I want to take golf to rural India.
I think for me it was very, very special for you to be here because
Because you love me.
yes, I love you the most. But the point being that I've never had a chance to have a formal conversation with you.
Never. I agree with you.
So it was a lot of fun and thank
Anyway, I've enjoyed myself. And I think these kind of questions are not answered till today. I've only been golf focused in whatever interviews I give or whatever podcast I may have done for golf. So it's only been golf, golf, and golf. So there's nothing else that I have done, really speaking. So this has been like good. I also came to know what I used to do.
No, and it's a great inspiration to put this out on a lot of platforms because people should know the story of you. I think it's a phenomenal story.
We'll do something.
So thank you so much.
Done. Thank you so much.
Today has been a very interesting podcast. Imagine a young boy starting his entrepreneurial journey by driving a tempo. Today, he is someone who's so inspiring and has reached the real epitome of success. He has taught us today that relationship building, having that vibe of doing something in business, having that instinct that you're the chosen one is so important. Passion, going crazy at work, and also loving what you do is so important. Thank you, Anil Seolekar, for today's session, for today's time that you've given, and I hope you all enjoyed listening to him. Please subscribe and follow our channel.